So I guess the good question anyone would ask if you told them that you bought a DSLR in 2018 would be, why would you go for a DSLR? Why wouldn't you go for a mirrorless? And in my case, the answer is very simple, that the price on the mirrorless, on the DSLRs has dropped so much that the value you get from buying a DSLR is so much higher than it is from a mirrorless. Don't get me wrong, I like mirrorless. I'm shooting this on a mirrorless. That's the Sony RX100. My iPhone is mirrorless. And mirrorless is great. It's compact, it's silent. So if you want to shoot exactly that picture when, she says yes in the church and all of that, and it has to be completely silent, of course mirrorless has an advantage. But I still think that a DSLR has its place in many other situations. And of course you have the disadvantage of moving parts. So, at some point in time your DSLR will need to be repaired or refurbished or whatever you call it, because there are moving parts, and moving parts they break. It can't be any different. They break down. So of course the mirrorless has an advantage, but I think Tony Northrup, he told me that it's not a shame to buy things that are maybe not the greatest and latest and greatest. And the video I'm shooting this on, the RX100, the Sony, is only the Mark III and not the I think they're on Mark 6 now. So you can save a lot of money by maybe not buying the very latest piece of technology. Let's see if I can get it. That is €1,100. I maxed my credit card for this one. But I still think this is, compared to 2 years ago, 4 years ago, this is half price, so it's fantastic value. And mind you that this piece of technology stands on the shoulders of a long series of development where you've had, people investing like me in the 5600 here, paying for the R&D that has gone into developing a model like this one. So that's why I chose to continue to stay with a DSLR. I still think it has its place here in 2018. And don't forget, the output it produces is still digital. So it's not like it's paper-based or something like that. It is still digital. So then the next good question, I guess, is why would you choose this exact model, the 750 in the total lineup from Nikon? And why would you go for full frame? Well, I think I have been very, very happy with my APS-C or crop sensors here, and I've taken some great pictures with this one, and it will still be my camera here as my backup camera, and I really like it. I think it's a great camera. I think APS-C technology is great, and I will probably be shooting birds with this one still, and maybe also planes, anything far away, very small, moving fast. APS-C definitely has a role to play there. But this one, I think why would I go for full frame? I have a lot of Nikon vintage lenses or classic lenses, whatever you want to call them, and they are all full frame or can fit an FX sensor. So why not? I might as well get the benefit from that. FX has a few advantages. I think they are small though, but they are there. Low light, better low light performance, and all of that. You've probably heard all the arguments. So that's why I wanted to go FX, and also I think going FX at some point in time when you've been a photographer for a little while and you've been with the APS-C format, you want to try something new, or you maybe you've read so much about the FX format that you think, I simply gotta try that sooner or later. So I think you as a photographer, you grow and become better and better, and then you need to upgrade your equipment and so on and so forth. So you sort of develop hand in hand. So I think it's a natural step for me to dive into the FX world. So why did I then not go for a setup where I had, for instance, the 850, which is, I think, Nikon's top of the line camera? And the answer there is simply that it's outside my price bracket. I can't tell you what the prices are right here and then now, but I checked it a while ago, and the 850 is way more expensive than the 750. Then there's the 810. That's I think the landscape photographer's preferred alternative, and I shoot a lot of landscape, but I also like to have different versions or take different kinds of pictures. Street photography, I shoot some wildlife once in a while, and just general all-round photography. So the 810 could be that. I think that's the one that when I read reviews, that's the one landscape photographers primarily use. But as landscape photography is not the only thing I do, and it's very seldom that I see I have the need for a poster or very large print, I think I can do fine with just the 24 megapixels we know from the APS-C. Also, the fact that the 810 is 400 euros more expensive than this one here, the 750. I think also, again, price became a very strong argument for me. So I went for the 750 here. The last one you could consider in this sort of Nikon lineup on the FX side, that is the 610. But I think this bad boy, the 750, has inherited a lot of good things from the 810. And maybe it's a little bit subject to who you consult in review-wise, but the 750 has extremely good low-light performance. It has the metering system is, I believe, the same as the 810, and the autofocus the same. And as the 750 is, it basically has many of the features that the 810 has. I think the main drawback with the 750, that is the fact that it has a little bit lower resolution. But I don't think that would be an issue for me. I'm really used to the 24 megapixels. I think it's more than enough for me. 99.9 of my pictures are, for my own use or for the Instagram or other social medias. So that will not be an issue, I think, with the lower resolution. So here it is, 750. Wow. It feels really good. I will say that my number one is picture quality. That's why I pick a camera. That's my main reason. This, maybe they're a little bit over some of the reviews I've seen, but there are many people who, make a lot of, they talk a lot about this tilting screen or pivoting screen, whatever you want to call it. I have my entry-level camera here, the 5600, and that has a screen that can both do this and that, and So I think that's not the argument for why I bought this one, that they can do like this. I think my arguments are that this is a camera with many of the features, top-level features from the 810. It's one of, I think, the 810 is probably, together with the 850, one of the best cameras Nikon has ever made. And this one has inherited a lot of the features from the 810. So I think the only downside is the little bit lower resolution in the picture quality, and that's not an issue for me. What convinced me that this should be my camera? What was sort of... I've been sitting on the fence for quite some time. You know that I ruined my 7500. I got it right here, just to compare. As you can see, the bodies are, you know, relatively same size and so on. I'll say the grip here on the 750 is a little bit deeper, actually quite a lot deeper than on the 7500. But you can see they're both rather big and bulky bodies. I will say though, I will not miss this button in here on the 7500. I can feel that's missing. I think they moved it out here. So you actually have a very good grip here without being disturbed by that button. Also, you know, I bitched about this one sort of hurting my hand, and that's gone here. Here I can just grab it. It feels really good. So ergonomics, I think, are already now approved. Also, this one has the option for mounting a battery grip. Maybe I will try that. If you're into dual, I mean, if you're a professional user, this is a must. I think a lot of discussions on social media about that. Not a biggie for me. I'll probably only fill one of the two slots, but anyway, it's there. And yeah, but what convinced me of this one, I think there were two videos. I read a lot of reviews, and this is a fantastic camera, end of story, full stop. There were two videos, and I will post links to them, top right corner. There are two videos that where I thought, okay, this is something extraordinary. One was the video with a Australian wedding photographer, and he has bought no less than four of these bodies, not because he, you know, just wanted to replicate, because he had a professional need. I think both he and his partner was shooting, and they needed a primary and a backup camera, and their DS3s, I believe it was were running out. So they decided to go for new bodies, and he said that the price for in his case was a very big factor, and that when you have to buy four, of course the price becomes very important, even though you're a professional that can deduct it in tax and all that. So he convinced me, and you can see some of, I mean, if you listen to his video, you will see that that's a professional guy that uses this as his main tool in what he does. The other, I think, was, and this one was not as neutral, you can say, as the wedding guy, the Australian wedding guy, because this was partly sponsored by Nikon. But this is a video from the Seattle Museum of Flight, where you see some of the video capabilities. This will only do 1080, so 4K, yeah, it's not an issue for me. This one will only do 1080. The Museum of Flight, where they do both video and also load live performance or pictures. And I must say that was quite astonishing video. Of course, it's biased because it's Nikon that sits and partly sponsors that video, so you need to subtract a little bit from that. But that was another very convincing video. So those two sort of brought me from, you know, being in doubt to feeling sure that this was a very good choice. So what's the, you know, what do I expect from this? A lens like this, it says very clearly here DX. So of course that one, it will fit this one, but it will give you sort of a vignetting. You won't be able to use the full frame. Of course, that's a very big disadvantage. So I can only use the lenses that I bought for the FX purpose, and that means that I have 3 or 4 lenses that I can only use on this one. And one of the lenses I will be missing very, very much is my Sigma 18-35. It was again Tony Northrup who recommended that, and I must say that was one of the best advices I've ever received regarding photography. It's an absolutely amazing lens. It is, if you have a DX camera and you're wondering what's a good beginner's lens, this one here is an absolute killer, the Sigma 18-35. Read the reviews. I must say this This is a top lens. I will be missing the ability to put that on my now FX camera. But other than that, I think I'll be happy. Looking forward to using my FX camera. But of course, there will be a sort of a limitation to what lenses I can add to it. I think that my prime lens will be, one of my prime lenses will be this classic here. My Nikon 35-70, highly recommended by the Angler photographer. Has autofocus, and it depends on the autofocus in the built-in motor. You know, those of you who have seen other videos from me knows that I bitch a lot about this. That you need to have an in-camera or in-body autofocus motor, but this one does. So I can mount this one. There you go. And then, as long as I'm not in macro mode, I can switch this one on. This is nice. The screen looks very much like the D7500, although it's a little bit smaller, I believe. It's not much. And if I just, you can see here it focuses. Just take that out of the automatic mode and put it into aperture, which is where I spend 99% of my time. If I then just, you can hear the autofocus is working, but otherwise it looks very much like a Nikon camera. Not much to report here. Okay, that's it from me. Hope you found this little video useful and that maybe I helped you decide what camera you should go for. Maybe you have realized this is not the camera for you. All good by me. But I think I would be very happy with this camera because of its, it's very good ergonomics. It will fit all my classic Nikon lenses. It did not break the bank. Wasn't cheap, but it didn't break the bank. It has one of the best autofocusing systems that Nikon has built, I believe. Also the same with the metering systems. And yeah, it just is a very, very nice camera. And just looking into the viewfinder, I was very happy. Those of you who've seen my video on the 7500 know that I was very happy with the viewfinder on this one. A big step up from the 7500. And it's the same here. The viewfinder is absolutely fantastic. So I really, really look forward to start using this camera big time. And I hope that I won't drop this one in salt water like I did with my 7500. Okay, thank you for watching. As always, happy shooting. Take care. Bye bye.